Since we spoke last, you have had an amazing near-death experience. What was that like?
It was terrifying in ways that combat never was. I had an undiagnosed aneurysm in my pancreatic artery, which is this little artery that no one really needs to think about very much. It's very rare. It was the result of a structural abnormality in my abdomen. It wasn't related to any health issue. There were no symptoms. It was completely undiagnosed. I'm a pretty healthy person, so it's not like I get a lot of CAT scans or anything. And it just ticked away in my abdomen for years or decades. And one day I was talking to my wife and I felt this pain shoot through my stomach. Not unbearable, but whoa, what was that kind of pain? And within a couple minutes, I couldn't stand up because my blood pressure was tanking. I didn't know it, but I was bleeding out into my abdomen. The aneurysm had ruptured and was gushing blood into my own abdomen. I didn't, thank God, didn't know this. The mortality rate for this is 70%, 70, if you get to the ER fast. And I was an hour and a half away from a hospital. And pretty soon I started to go blind, and all things that happen when your blood pressure drops. The ambulance finally got there, and I was feeling a little better. You go into something called compensatory shock. Your body clamps down on everything, and your blood pressure goes back up in your core and in your brain, and you feel better. So I was like, oh, maybe I'm okay. My vision came back, and I was like, huh, that's weird. But spouses being what they are, I was sent off to the hospital, and I got there right at the point where my compensatory shock seemed to wear off, and I went off a cliff, and I was actively dying, and I was minutes from being dead. But I was conscious the whole time. I had no idea I was dying, but I was conscious. I was talking to the doctor, and they cut my neck open. They figured out what it was pretty quickly, and massive abdominal hemorrhage, and which those are real widow makers. And the thing is, if you just had a knife wound in your stomach, they would know where to put their finger or whatever. With abdominal hemorrhage, it's a complicated mess in there, and they don't even know where to start looking for like a rupture. And so they cut my neck open, and they made an incision in my neck to put a line into my jugular. And they started transfusing me. In the end, I got a total of 10 units of blood, which is quite a lot. My blood pressure was 60/40 when I got to the ER. I'm guessing I had about half my blood by the time I got there. And I started to leave, and I felt myself leaving, and my dead father appeared above me. And you have to understand, I'm an atheist. I'm not religious. I'm an atheist. I'm a rationalist. I'm not a mystic. If anything, I'm kind of an anti-mystic. And I cannot explain what happened. My dead father appeared. I didn't know I was dying, and I was shocked to see him. And he was sort of welcoming me, like, it's okay, you can come. And I was like, get out of here. You're dead. I'm alive. I don't want to come to you. What? We have nothing to do with each other. You're dead. What are you talking about, right? And then I started to get pulled down into this black pit that had opened up underneath me. And it was just sort of infinitely black, infinitely dark, and a void. It was just this enormous void underneath me. And I felt myself starting to get pulled into it. And I said to the doctor, you got to hurry up. I'm leaving. You're losing me right now. I didn't know that I was dying, although I was. I just meant I'm getting pulled into the huge black pit and I don't want to go. Right? I was being very literal about it. Like, you got to hurry. I'm going right into the pit. And he was working on my neck, and then my memory is spotty after that. But it's a great mystery, and what happened on the threshold, and it's sparked a lot of feelings. It's terror. I was since then, for about a year after that, I had a real anxiety disorder that I could just sort of die at any moment. And it made me very agoraphobic. I didn't want to be away from, anywhere where someone could help me. Had I been on an airplane or in a traffic jam or camping, I'd have died. And so it gave me a real sort of panic disorder, which is very common for this kind of thing. And but it also awakened a kind of curiosity about death. And do we really? I just believe when you die, everything stops, and that's the end of that forever. And it made me wonder, like, how can I really know that? And I think the Christian vision of heaven and all that, I think is frankly just nonsense. And all the other major religions as well. But that doesn't mean that there isn't some kind of post-death, non-material reality that we just don't understand yet and don't understand in scientific terms. And so I'm trying to navigate through that very complicated and terrifying and confusing terrain.
Yeah, it sounds it, to see your father like that. And I remember the last time we did an interview, you mentioned that your friend, the late Tim Hetherington, sometimes you'd see him in dreams. What do you think this sort of visual connection to these other people, what is this kind of telling you?
I mean, we dream about things that are important to us or emotionally important to us, and it's easy to explain that with what we understand about the human brain. I mean, dreams aren't any mystery whatsoever. But then if there is a non-material post-death reality, it does open the question, can the dead trigger dreams in us? I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. And I don't want it to be that way, but I'm just saying, like, if we really don't know what happens after death, and if there's a possibility of some reality that can intersect with ours in some ways, like maybe when you dream of the dead, maybe in some ways there's something real happening there. I don't know. And again, I don't necessarily want that to be true. I don't care either way. I don't have a dog in the fight, but it does open what the experience did to me was make me realize in my sort of smug agnosticism, you know what, bro, you actually don't know. You know what I mean? And because you don't know doesn't mean that there is anything after death, but you don't know any more than Christians don't know. And Buddhists don't know, and agnostics don't know either. Join the club. Nobody freaking knows. And they got me to that point.
What do you think it would take to convince you? Is there something that could kind of set you on a path where you would start to believe in some sort of afterlife or something?
I mean, I would need some data. I mean, I would need a measurable effect. I would need, like, which people are working on. They just, it's not there. So either we aren't smart enough to develop the tools that could measure what needs to be measured to prove that, or there just isn't anything there. This is all a kind of wishful thinking.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for watching that video. To see the full episode, check out the box over here or the link in the description.